Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. In today's episode, we're going to review the narrow 1-point loss against Fremantle at the G. Let's get into it. Roll the intro.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Today's video is brought to you by Hopper Bros Barbecue. Make sure for all your tips, tricks, and everything barbecue, you give them a follow on Instagram. So I'm going to call the obvious one. So the two players for me that stood out the most, the first one obviously being Nick Dacos. Fantastic all day, 43 disposals. Couple of kicks though, which I wasn't 100% sure about. I think it may have been trying to be a little bit too cute here and there or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm not really fussed. He gave it absolutely everything throughout the entire match. The other one that I was really impressed with also was the return of Beau McCreary. He had 15 disposals, but he also had 15 tackles as well. And that just shows me that over the past few weeks, we've really missed the off-the-ball stuff that Beau McCreary brings into our side. And we've seen the pressure acts for somebody like a Lachie Schultz, who I thought was great pressure-wise against Fremantle as well. As a team performance, though, I just felt as if we were lacking the constant flow that we usually have throughout a game, especially towards the later end. Once they got that. I think it was the one goal from Jackson, or I think Voss may have kicked one. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they scored this goal at the start of the last quarter, and after that, you just felt like we were hanging on by a knife's edge to try and make sure that we were able to get the chocolates towards the end of the game. Now, obviously, it ebbed and flowed and stuff. So, we can't be too concerned, because how I see it, though, and I really want a lot of Collingwood supporters to sort of come from the same sort of mindset, is apart from our loss against GWS, if you look at our loss against Geelong, could have won that off our own boot towards the end. You look at the game against Gold Coast, rock up for one more quarter, we win that game. And this game here, it was just more or less about holding on towards the end and managing that pressure. And we're 22 points up at one stage. We shouldn't be losing this game against Fremantle. But there's a few other things I want to talk about. But overall, it was disappointing. It was a bit deflating. But I don't think it's panic stations just yet. I just want to go out to say also that I think Fremantle played a fantastic brand of footy for the whole game. So we can't, discount the opposition. They're a side that's obviously like holding on for dear life to make the finals. And we're going to find now, apart from the game against Richmond and potentially the game against Melbourne, every other side that we're going to play against, they're going to play their absolute grand final against us. They're going to play as best as they can. They're going to be G'd up for us, and we're going to have to learn how to manage that pressure. I don't even think to learn it. I think it's more or less we need to learn how to we need to consistently manage how we're going to handle the pressure, especially towards the end of the games against these sides that are not only fighting for a top 8 spot, but they're fighting for the double chance. So I think that's something that we really have to accept as supporters, that every club is going to play their grand final against us, regardless of the situation. Fremantle's two players I really want to point out to. Caleb Sarong is unbelievable. I think he is just an A-grade footballer in general. 37 disposals is a fantastic game of football from him, and he was hard to stop throughout the whole day. The other one too, which it frustrates me to say this, but Jaeger, whatever, O'Meara, 23 disposals, right? He had something like 8, he attended 8 centre clearances and he won half of them, right? When was the last time somebody was like, oh, O'Meara this, O'Meara that? We haven't heard that from him since the Gold Coast Sundays. He wasn't anything special at Hawthorn. And to be honest, he probably doesn't get a lot of notice being at Fremantle from the Melbourne media or from football supporters in general. But it had to be against us where he's turned around and he's had a half-decent game. So they're probably the two players that I thought really stood out. Obviously, Patrick Voss, this is the part where I get frustrated the most, and this is the part where I let my emotions and stuff take over. But we're letting an Essendon reject score 6 goals against us, or however many he scored. And there's the game. Another game where a tall forward has pulled us apart. And I'll get to our defence in a second, but it's so frustrating because these problems that we've got, right, on the field, they're so fixable. We should have realistically only be one game down this year. We should have won every other one. But it is what it is. I'll get to the next point in a second. Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. Just a quick message out there. If you haven't already, could you please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel? It would mean the world. We're getting heaps of views. The traction's been really good. But yeah, we'd love to get the subscribers up. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and you'll get your daily dose or your weekly dose of all things Collingwood for the fans from the stands. Call it as you see it. And as always, guys, go the Pies. So I've got to talk about our defence. Obviously missing Jeremy Howe, Billy Frampton, and Dan Houston. They're massive outs for us. Most likely we're going to get Frampton back next week, and then we'll get obviously Dan Houston back probably the week after. Excuse me, and then we'll get Jeremy Howe back a bit more closer in towards the finals, or however he's going to be with that groin strain. We have to understand that we were depleted down back. That experience that we were lacking meant that Darcy Moore had to play more of that one-on-one role, as opposed to him obviously being that intercept defender, that intercept marker across the back line, and doing what he's done so far this season to become the defender that he is, and he's had a lot better season compared to obviously others. We desperately need to try and get those players back. We desperately need to try and get as many players who are on our injury list at the moment, as many players as from our defense or whatever. We need to get this full team strength back, and I'll tell you why. If we're able to get most of our players back, including DeGoey, including Bobby Hill, and the likes of them, and then you get the VFL players that are going to put pressure on them, which is really important. And I am talking about the likes of, an Ash Johnson for the guys up forward. I am talking about Harry DiMatteis, who he might not have played a game of football yet, but if he can apply the constant pressure in the twos to these guys and the seniors, they're only going to get better. If we can get our team sorted, preferably by the latest, the Hawthorn game, then we've got a bit of continuity going to Adelaide, playing against Melbourne, playing against whoever, and having that week off before the finals. We've got the continuity of the main side together going into the finals football. For me, in my mind right now, our finals starts this week now. No more piss farting around against Richmond. I'm still very confident. We're sitting 2 games clear. Yeah, we may have dropped back in the pack a little bit. But to all the supporters out there, just hold it together a little bit, because if you look at past seasons gone, and I'm not holding up on hope of what happened in 2023, that's gone, but it's sort of the same trajectory a little bit. Losing a couple of games before the run, and then you go from there. There's still so many things to play out. There's still so many things we're learning about this side. There's still so many things that can happen leading up to the finals, good and bad, not just for us, but for other clubs in general. So I'm still very, very confident about where we sit at the moment. I'm happy the fact that we've qualified for finals and we're going to be there regardless of what happens. But let's just make sure that we can try and get as many players together ready to go and get our best side possible and stop the managing of players if they don't need it. We have to get that continuity going towards the finals now. With that being said though, is it panic stations? No. So everyone just, again, like I said last week after a loss against Gold Coast, just zen, relax. It's going to be okay. The guys know what they're doing. And then we'll move into this game against Richmond, which I'll do my preview for later in the week. So overall, I was disappointed in the fact that we weren't able to finish the game off like we have for, God knows how long now. And we weren't able to hold on properly, especially being at home. It was a little bit deflating. But regardless, there still are points in a game where we completely controlled everything. We probably needed to do it for more sustained periods throughout the game. But with that being said, it's okay. I'd rather lose a couple of games now than for it to be at the very, very pointy end of the season where you need to win no matter what, or else the season's over. So make sure that you guys drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.